O my How will you ultimately take shelter at the lotus feet of Śrīmad, Krishna?
Having had the desire to take shelter of those lotus feet since time immemorial, this wretched servant simply is waiting.
O Radhe, O Krishna Chandra, life and soul of the devotees, please bestow upon this most sinful person bhakti to both of you.
Please do not neglect me, saying that I am devoid of bhakti. Instead, give this ignorant person your auspicious instruction of spiritual knowledge.
Please give this servant who is afflicted by the thirst for material enjoyment the qualification to serve in your amorous pastimes.
This restless current of life flows, running into the ocean of time, death. The days that have gone will not come again. Alas, Krishna, what am I to do now?
You are the friend of the fallen. I know who you are, my master. You are indeed the very ocean of kindness.
I am unfortunate and exceedingly foolish. I do not understand even an iota of bhakti. O my masters, by virtue of your greatness, take my soul and make me your own, thereby vanquishing my material sufferings. Give me a perfected spiritual body within the transcendental abode of Vrindavan, and bestow upon me in charity the nectar of service to you. After making me drink praying, and thus become spiritually intoxicated, hear me sing your glories. Last verse.
Please engage me in service to you in the arena of the rasa dance. This unworthy maidservant of Srila Saki, Bhaktivinoda beseeches you by clasping your lotus feet.
So he translated this.
Can you tell us something about the song and how Srila Trivikrama?
Well, it actually, the remarkable thing is when you translate it, is the movement. It's kind of like the movement Srila Trivikrama and really projecting it, kind of be very humble in his service, you know. Everything we do, you know. And then we may become a master. Huh? We may,
Push the mic closer.
yeah, we could become a master in things like kirtan, lecture, things like that. Trivikrama should always say, okay, but, you know, and then he quote that verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Jagai Madai Hoite. We, how's it go? Something like that. I'm lower than Jagai Madai, and even lower than a wormy stool.
We say Papishta.
Papishta,
More sinful.
more lower than, and then the other one is even if you chant my name, you're all kinds of things like that.
Yeah, in the prayer,
That was
it
it.
appears how, he's taking the role of a conditioned soul, like so many Bhaktivinoda Thakur songs,
Yeah.
like describing his fallen condition and praying, begging for mercy.
And in the Avanti Brahmana, he goes through all these things about the cause of suffering, and he comes to the conclusion, you know what the cause of suffering is? My mind.
Yeah, forgetfulness.
He comes to the conclusion. And then he gets it. And he goes, I'll cross over this ocean of material suffering. So the same thing, it's like, reminds me so much of Srila Trivikrama, that whole road, And he did it in a very, very deep way, so he was like that. Very deep. So, like this, so many things, like, unfortunate, exceedingly foolish, friends, it's like the whole song is almost like, I don't know exactly where the song is placed in the Sharanagati song. I'm not sure where, but it's under there. Anyway, this particular song. Do you have something to say about it, Maharaj?
Well, just how I remember him singing it. Like you say, this was one of his, you could say, favorite song, because he sang it pretty often.
Pretty often, yeah.
You know. And I particularly remember when we were in Govardhan with, in the early period after Gurudev went to the West, and there were a lot of Westerners. There was a place called Modi Bhavan.
Yeah, that's
And Modi Bhavan, the devotees, some of them had some rooms here and there, but most were staying in the assembly hall. Were you there? Yeah. And they put up a sheet or something in between the men and the ladies. So Srila Trivikrama Maharaj, after the evening program that Gurudev would attend, then he would go back to his room. And then everybody's kind of going about their preparations for taking rest or taking prasadam or whatever. And then he would sit up on this little stage and he would just start giving a class. And there would just be a small handful of devotees that would be sitting there with him and listening to him. You know, and I specifically remember him singing this song, but the tone of his voice, the mood that he was singing it in, was not like we sing musically with everybody else, and we sing it, but we don't really think about the meaning of it. We're thinking more about how does my voice sound or whatever. No, he had nothing to do with that. He was singing it from the core of his heart, and not even really on key, you know, and calling out. He was calling out very loudly with his voice, and I was thinking, I should be there, sitting by him. He was always in this way, you know, like Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj used to express about him, his own self, that I am a backward pushing man. He would use that term, backward pushing man. So that can be interpreted in two ways. One way is that I am pushing myself to the background. I always want to stay in the background, backward pushing. And the other is from the background, I'm pushing, you see, to help everything. So Srila Trivikrama Maharaj, he seemed to me to have a similar kind of disposition. Of course, he was a very active preacher for all those years. And we only met him in his quite ripe old age, just like we did with Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. And I remember it was his mood to not want any attention, you know, to not want any persons, you know, glorifying him or anything like that. And I always tell this story on his appearance or his disappearance day about how we were with Srila Gurudev and him once on Parikrama. It was one of the early years after Gurudev went to the West. And we were at Chirghat, the Chirghat that is distance out from Vrindavan, right? And then there was a program in the courtyard there. Srila Gurudev was speaking and such. And it was a small courtyard, and so everybody was standing up from a distance, and because there's not enough sitting room. And after everybody began to walk back to the buses, when everything was finished, then Srila Trivikrama Maharaj was kind of sitting in the courtyard with his cane, and he was sitting on some kind of rock, like a big rock in the middle of that courtyard. So one Western devotee who was filming video, and in those days the video camera was much more
Big.
it was not well known. I mean, now everybody has a screen, but at that time, you know, it was very rare. So that devotee who had been filming the Trivikrama, he came up to Srila Trivikrama and he said, "Oh, Maharaj, I have this camera that is filming live, you know, what we're doing." And he pulled it out and showed it to him. And this is yourself. I was also filming, and he's looking. Srila Trivikrama was looking at that with a look on his face of very great disinterest. Then the devotee told Srila Trivikrama, "Oh, Maharaj, this you know video that we have, we're going to broadcast this all over the world through internet. All the devotees will see you everywhere." And then Srila Trivikrama Maharaj, he just turned his head away and he said, "I want to die unseen, unknown." Yeah, that's his mood. You know, and I always noted that about him, that he didn't want any attention or anything at all, although he was sitting next to Gurudev in a leading position and so forth. But he didn't think of himself, you know, that he didn't estimate his position as being something of an elevated person. Not at all. That's why this song, I don't know, it really does capture his mood, and that's probably why he sung this song often. At the end of his class, he would sing this song. And he would cry out. He would cry out. You know, like, what is the song telling? It's telling, Vishaya Pipasa Prapidita Dase. Please give this servant who is afflicted by the thirst for material enjoyment, Deho Adhikar Jugala Vilase. Please give this servant the qualification to serve in your amorous pastimes. This particular song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur it's actually a very prominent song, sung in the Gaudiya Math very often. Not every day, but it's so interesting as our lives go by that when we review this song, we can see ourself as being in such a fallen and helpless condition and having no qualification. Just like Bhakti-heen boli, nakara upeksha. Please do not neglect me saying that I am devoid of bhakti, Bhakti-heen boli. Instead, give this murkha-jan. Murkha-jan means ignorant person. Murkha, foolish person. Murkha-jane devo jnana susiksha. Please give the transcendental susiksha, transcendental instructions that are so auspicious of spiritual knowledge. So that's our position. It's exactly our position. That we have no bhakti and we're foolish. We're foolish. So we have to pray in the same way. That's how we have to actually pray. Not just thinking that about ourselves, but singing this song and declaring it to Radha and Krishna, to our Guru Parampara, that this is my position. This restless current of life It is flowing, running into the ocean of time. Do we ever think like that? Chanchala jivana shrota pravahya kaler sagare dai. Ocean of time. That's what this life is. Chanchala jivan. Chanchala also means, here it's translating as restless. Chanchala. But it also means very, very temporary. Very temporary. Gelo je divasa na asivaya. As each day goes by, it will not come again. That day is gone. But we don't think like that. But when we are praying to the Lord, we have to admit and think like that. That whatever days that have already gone by, we feel that it is like this endless ocean of time. And here we are, wherever we are, sitting up on a mountain, up in Badger, but actually my Atma has been everywhere already. Top to bottom of the universe, all species of life, everything. But we don't think about that. We think, oh, I'm this body, I belong to this family, I'm living my life with my wife, my children, my society, and all of that. But in actuality, this is our true position. We're just in this endless flow, this current of time. I am bhagyahin. I'm very unfortunate. Ati arvachin. I'm very foolish. Na jani bhakati lesha. And I do not understand even an iota of bhakti. Nija gune nata karo atmasata. By virtue of your greatness, qualified, but he's praying now to Krishna, who knows everything, who knows what is our condition. And he's saying, Siddha Deva Diya Vrindavana Maji. Please give me my perfected spiritual body within the transcendental abode of Vrindavan. Sevamrita Korodan. And bestow upon me Sevamrita, nectar of service to you. Piyaya, divine qualities. And finally, Jugal Sevaya Shrirasa Mandale. Please engage me in the service to you. Jugal Sevai. Who is Jugal? Radha Krishna. Where will I be engaged? In Sri Rasa Mandale, in the arena of the Rasa dance. Nijukta Koro Amai. Please engage me in this way. Then he's saying, Lalita Sakira Ayogya Kinkodi. He's describing his position, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that I am an unworthy servant, a kinkodi of Lalita Saki. Then Vinod Dori Jepai. Bhakti Vinod beseeches you by clasping your lotus feet. So each one of these lines in this song is in this mood, and Srila Trivikrama Maharaj would sing each line like at the top of his lungs, calling out in desperation. That's how he would sing this song. So it's good that we reviewed this song on his appearance day. He'd be pleased by this, but he'll be more pleased if we follow the song and we apply it in our life. So, Jai Srila Trivikrama Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Yeah. I'm going to read some of his, tonight in the class, I'm going to read some of his Vani. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Patita.
Radhi.
Beseech means like begging or
Yeah,
desperately.
yeah. Beseeching. It's an older English word. Beseeches.
Yeah, it gives us hope that we can pray for the highest thing even in the
Yeah.
lowest condition.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
The
that's
song
what-
is
yeah.
specifically,
Yeah.
although he's saying at the end what his real position is, but he feels like that, placing himself in our position, you know.
Yeah, they feel like that.
So that's a song for sadhaks who have been trying, but they feel themselves that they've not advanced, that they've not overcome the obstacles, and they've been trying and trying in the endless ocean of time, you know. But now I'm coming to you and beseeching you. Please give me this despite my
Yeah, like in
disqualification.
Gopinath, right? Same
like that
thing.
song.
You're
Yeah.
very fallen and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a similar song, similar mood.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.